Welcome back, folks. SeKo Starcraft, having himself some rum, watching some replays. We got HasuObs versus Delphi. Game 2 of a best of 3 series in some recent tournaments. Not even too sure exactly. Content's been a little bit sparse. People have been putting the replays up from the tournaments lately. Hopefully there'll be an explosion next bit. I'll be able to get exploded all upon them in a very sexy way. At any rate, Delphi lost that first game because of a simple DT play, and the really funny thing was he cancelled all the proxy pylons. He went out and killed all of them, but still somehow didn't register that the attack was coming enough to build the units and the defenses he needed. 4 DTs won the game at like the 10-minute mark, which isn't even a DT rush, it was a DT expand quasi rush, and it just worked out. In this game we got HasuObs up here, we got a pylon right next to it in the main. Doesn't look like he's walling off like he did in the first game here. Whereas HasuObs is going to go for the 12 pool, it looks like. Why not? This is a good map for 12 pooling. I think that, for the most part, I've seen some zergs love this map. I love this map at playing any race. It's just like my favorite map. I think it's out of the map pool now too, which is sad. No, he wasn't going to go for 12 pool. I'm just totally high. It would have been lovely for him to go for 12 pool. Fantastic. Because you can get pretty good damage in sometimes to do that. In this case, we just see gateway in the main. No worry about a wall off. And these guys are so experienced on these maps that they have these builds, in the beginning at least, really mapped out how they're going to do stuff. There's some really good players out there, mostly Zerg players that play entirely reactionary, where they'll just go open up very standard, see what their opponent is doing, and work to counter it. That's generally what Zerg has to do, unless you intend to go for some sort of rush. It just seems like everything is designed to kill you as a Zerg player and stop you from growing up too big and running over people. We only have the 1 gas taken right now with the 3 workers in it, instead of the 2 gas, 2 worker combo. No expand on this side, seeing the pylon at the front. I don't know exactly what this is going to tell Delphi at this point. It's just a pretty simple expand from the looks of things. Just getting out some units first, and without a wall in, you obviously need to have good units there. His worker's down a little bit early, might just be doing that partially to check for any type of early play, or to steal a mineral before you go and expand again. It seems a little counterintuitive. Regardless, come on, I closed down all the applications on my computer, you can work faster. Is this the Zealot expand? No, why not? Should work pretty good. Are you gonna go up to the base? No, I thought he might be going for an ultra fast 3 hatch when the opponent hasn't even expanded yet. But that is not the case. Instead we see our Delphi down here mining some gas, getting out a couple of Lings, and just getting straightforward. Now, I don't think Delphi has seen... Yes, he's seen the Nexus, he's fine. That's the really important thing to see. If you don't see that Nexus go down, then you know what's coming at you, and you can prepare better. I know for me, it's really important to scout when that expansion timing is. And one thing I'm trying to get better at is scouting the timing of the Zerg 3rd base. Because it's gotta happen, right? If you've got the opportunity as a Zerg player to expand more, you generally will. Forge and a gateway at the wall off. Still making the workers. So if we look at the economy, right now, pretty close. We're about to have a bit of a lead taken by the Zerg player. The chrono boost hasn't been used a lot. Oh, it is being used on the workers. It's such a fun thing to do as a protoss player. Once you get up to 2 or 3 nexuses, you can take a lot of damage and then just start chrono boosting out workers like a madman. It's mad. Did this guy kill a Zergling? He did, that bastard. Now we're just seeing what the other opponents have the opportunity to understand. The Zerg is in position to really be able to go in and scout soon. The Protoss has not done anything else to scout what's coming at him. You can be pretty certain of the different angles that can come at you, but for instance, if this was just a 2-base Roach all-in, if he did go for a Roach Warren earlier on instead of this lair, he'd be able to be across the map with 6 or 7 Roaches, and probably would be able to bust down the wall. The photon cannon may have turned him around. not a very smart zergling. Handful of Lings, they just, ooh. Well, at least he saw that coming across. It's an interesting little tell. I was very happy to learn that you actually don't need as much resources as I originally thought to be able to produce these warp prisms. They're only 200 minerals. Like, what a deal. No gas, and it flies. Man, I'd love to have a warp prism instead of a car. I gave you 20 bucks. So it's hard to say what this warp prism is going to provoke out of the zerg player. At this point, I mean, the gateways are just going down, so it was more of a threat. The gateways are all in position now, but to show off that warp prism that early, it's not like it's a head fake you can do, like if you start throwing down pylons early in the game when they're expanding and you're like, oh, I might cannon you. Well, it doesn't cost you as much if you are faking that. This warp prism, I mean, it's always going to be useful as long as you don't lose it. Ah, there we go. The Immortal drops. The oh so famous Immortal drops. Is there cannons flying there? There's 2 cannons flying there. So this is kind of 2-base all-in-ish here from HasuObs. He threw down another, what, 5, 6 gateways. He's on 7, 8 gates? Is that right? He's on 8 gates. A robo with 2 immortals. A lot of roaches out. The problem is he doesn't have... Oh, he needs a sentry to warp in. Is he getting it in time? Get down! No, he got close though. That's the problem with putting the immortals in the warp prism, but they can't warp in obviously. But without the ability to actually, you know, bring in a sentry with you, it's hard to be certain that you're going to be able to get the drop off that you want. Got some pretty good damage in, caused a pull of the workers, but he only lost 2 workers out of that. That's weird. That is a little bit of an overcommitment, that's in my mind. I mean, he's got some fancy micro he can do, but... Oh, he actually lost an Immortal in that as well, and almost the Prism. Not a very smooth move. We actually got a Spire Tech off of this on 2 bases. A couple of crawlers. Probably could cancel those. He's gonna keep them. A little bit of sloppiness out of both players there. I don't think that drop was really that destined. This warp prism is essentially trapped. Oh, it'll squeeze out. Big supply lead for Delphi, but we just had a big warp in of zealots. Just because, oh, he is busting down the front. There's those roaches I was talking about. It'd be sure good to have that Immortal here now. He's going to finish off his wall in for right now. You can always knock down a pylon later if you want to. This warp prism doesn't got much going on for it. This 3rd base is fairly delayed though. I mean, it was only thrown down about the 10-minute mark. So he's got that slightest of advantages. I mean, if you're 2 base versus 2 base, you'd rather be the protoss player. Sniping the creep tumors is kind of sweet too. I think that's a very nice move. I know he's starting to produce mutas. How many did he actually get out? Not many, unfortunately. He's only got the 1. I think he's got a couple more coming. This will be scouted. +1 attack. So this is a pretty dedicated muta assault that he wants to do. Lots of units out on the map now. Not a lot of anti-air for HasuObs. If he pushes out, there's not a lot of mutas here. But if there was like 10 mutas, this army would just die. 2 stalkers and 2 sentries. Nice juke by the roach. Yeah, that's a bit more effective. And all these drones transfer just in time to be absolutely useless. Getting the warp prism would be worthwhile, but he's not going to. HasuObs put together a really good army very quickly. Don't throw away. I don't think that the Zerg player can really fight this right now. He doesn't have enough mutas, I don't think. Maybe. It looks like he killed the warp prism, which is the important part, so there is no more anti-air coming in but what's here. 3 stalkers, 2 sentries. Oh no, there's a pylon, and there's stalkers coming in. That sucks. That's a problem with trying to go for mutas too early as a zerg player without the economy, is that you only get out like a small sprinkling of them unless you bank, you know, resource for a long time. And this army, like, good luck stopping it. Really. He's got +1, just insubstantial, but because there's no armor for any of the zerg units, all the zerglings are gonna die super fast. He is throwing down some emergency defenses in the front, and it looks like he's gonna go for a counterattack. There is enough energy, I think, for a recall. Yes, there is. If he really wants to, he can. It's difficult to say if he really needs to. He might just go for the base trade here. Looks like the case. There's no cannons in the main, though. There's some minerals. It would be probably worthwhile for the protoss player to do that. Maybe he wants to do all the damage he can, and oh, he did warp home with some. He didn't bring all of his units, though. So hopefully he's got enough here. No. Well, the warp engine helped a lot, I suppose. That's a lot of stalkers, actually. Well, the force field does help keep his army out of his own base. And a GG from Delphi there. I don't think the mutas was the best play. The muta is the play that you use when you know you're ahead by a mile. So the warp prism attack did fail, but he didn't lose out on economy or anything from that. So I'm very surprised to see that muta transition. They're just so weak against protoss units unless you really have a dominating number, and he didn't have the economy to support it. So a little bit of a risk from Delphi, and just didn't pay off. Alright, game 2 goes to HasuObs. Game 3 coming up right away.